Rapterra. This new for 2025 coaster replaces Volcano the Blast Coaster. Kind of. Or at least uses that plot of land to add a new launch coaster that can appeal to thrill seekers and families. This helps round out King's Dominion's lineup that is becoming one of the best for families seeking thrills, but not necessarily for top thrills, as some of the strong coasters have been removed over the recent years. So, does this offer a solid thrill coaster? Because looking at it, I was intrigued, but not really convinced. Find out my thoughts in this review. B&M worked in the 1990s to become a premier manufacturer of coasters. They debuted their sit-down looping coaster with Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and this coaster was praised for strong inversions and pacing. B&M then made many similar coasters, though focusing more on floorless trains as these offered a bit more for riders. They also built dive coasters such as Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, flying coasters like Superman Ultimate Flight, and hyper coasters like Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. Then, they finally debuted wing coasters. These are a novel type of coaster where riders sit on the side of the track instead of on top of it. Most commonly today, you can see these as S&S free spins at various Six Flags parks. But the B&M versions have a full circuit track just like a regular coaster, and allow riders to experience slightly different seating positions, as the outside seat is going to play a bit differently, normally a lot bumpier than that inside seat. And even with short trains with only 5 rows on Rapterra, each row really felt different. So it has a huge amount of re-ride value as you try riding in each row and on each side of the train and in each seat. There was a grouper directing you to a side. I didn't ask specifically and just went with my various assignments, but I imagine they wouldn't be too mean if you requested an actual side. I did not try every row, just some of them, as I spent most of my second day marathoning Twisted Timbers, which is by far the best coaster that I've ever ridden. As for the queue length, this coaster seemed to have really good capacity on the quiet weekdays that I visited. You should still be safe to rope drop Canobie, as that coaster is lame and not worth waiting for. And Reptilian, though it depends which line you'd rather avoid waiting in, Reptilian's moves a lot slower. Doing this, Rapterra was only slightly more than a station wait, or maybe about a 10-minute wait, and that was with most people heading to Rapterra first. And you could jump back in line and get a few more laps with the line being about this length. On a busier day, you might have to prioritize it, especially with it being new, but it should do a decent job at eating through capacity. The bigger issue that I ran into was that it was very prone to breaking down, and did so midday on each day that I visited. Likely this is just due to it being a relatively new ride, but it is something to monitor going forwards. The theming is nice as it really fits into the overall jungle expedition area, and more or less completes the area around Reptilian and Canobie. The backstory states that a temple to the Jungle Hawk was built at the base of a volcano, which pays homage to the coaster that was here before. This temple was buried by volcanic rock, and is just now being rediscovered by archaeologists. So guests are given a chance to visit the temple and temporarily possess the powers and abilities of the Jungle Hawk. With a nice facade in the gift shop, you really can get excited for this coaster. But the main queue just has a bunch of paths that are open to the hot sun. Maybe because they're excavating the area. This is really nice so you can actually see the coaster in action, but kinda miserable to actually be stuck here in the middle of the hot summer. The one time I had to wait with half this area full, the line did move relatively quickly, and likely it's only going to be maybe an hour or so wait, even with this whole area full, which is really unbelievable as the queue looks massive. As for seat preference, I found the outside really bumpy and rough, so I definitely prefer the forces on the inside seats, even if the views are a bit less. I did like the left side of the train, where you go through the tunnel to the station, as you lean towards the ground on most of the elements while going much higher on that initial top hat. The front row offers great views and strong wind in your face that's an experience worth having. And likely, it is not much of an extra weight for the front row, which again is kinda unbelievable. The second row, however, was my favorite, as you get a little bit of wind and views from the front, but the forces there were way better, as you have good floater airtime to almost every single element. Still, I'd suggest trying as many different positions as you can, just to find which hits your sweet spot. After leaving the station, you make a slight turn right before being launched to set off your adventure. This didn't seem too great of a launch, but it was punchy enough with the wing seats. Then you go up a top hat, but this is profiled sideways, so you're not really getting airtime here. It also is apparently really tall at 145 feet, which really seems unbelievable, as this coaster just doesn't appear to be that tall off-ride. This element is still solid with its mixture of airtime at the top, while using the wing seats to make a bit of sideways forces. The left side of the train travels a lot further up this element, so you get a lot more if you sit on that side. After the top hat, you dive down, taking full advantage of the wing seats to give you the feeling of diving close to the ground. This is followed by a dive loop that allows you to rise up a bit before diving once again back to the ground. This leads into an S-bend that blends mild airtime with twisting, which plays well for that winged position. This leads into a larger turn over the midway of Jungle Expedition, which allows for this coaster to be on full display for everyone. The curved drop off of this leads beautifully into a corkscrew. The elements feel so fluid that it really gives that feeling that you're just flying along the course. The airtime hill here seems to promise a strong pop to finish off the ride, but it just gives a small little pop, which is still fun, but not nearly as special as I was hoping for. This leads into a final inline twist that is taken slow enough, but doesn't do anything too crazy before ending your relatively short ride. Overall, how good is Rapterra? I was excited to ride a wing coaster like this, but the layout itself just doesn't look too impressive, and it does feel similar to regular mid-size B&M inverts. The top hat plays well, and the slow speed allows for a terrific combination of a dive feeling or hang time through a lot of the elements. And with a lot of variety between the various seats, this coaster has re-ride value, while giving a fun ride most of the time. I place it right above Dominator at King's Dominion, both in the park and my overall rankings. Dominator is one of my favorite B&M bloopers. With its strong forces, I almost always had trouble walking after riding it, and its focus on turns, which is much more fun than Whippy inversions, at least for me. Rapterra just has a lot more extra stuff, giving it that edge. I rank Rapterra right below Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Originally, this B&M dive coaster didn't do much for me, and the rattle on the outside seats was a lot. But learning to ride this towards the middle and figuring out how to look away to maximize the first drop has made it an excellent first drop and a solid overall layout, even if you could get more from the airtime hill and turns. Do you feel Rapterra does a good job at appealing to thrill seekers and families alike? How good do you find this coaster? Let me know, and as always, Cocoon Crop.